day and welcome to yet another episode of Woman to Woman, a show where we discuss issues that are of concern to women. We empower, inspire and enlighten one another. Today we are talking purpose. Join us as we discuss that topic. The joy of every human being is found in their pursuit for purpose. And today on set, we are talking purpose. And as usual, I'm not alone. I'm joined here by Rethabile, the person who has found herself in advocating for the marginalized people in unemployment. Rethabile, like I said, we are talking purpose today. You were working at one point and you found yourself now having to pursue what you felt was purpose to you, what you felt was a band to you. So I want us to first start off by talking about where you were before you can make up your mind to say, I'm going to pursue purpose.
Okay, thank you so much, Pat. I'm honored to share the stage with you. First, let me just explain that I'm a non-lawyer, and being a non-lawyer means that I have brought to Botswana market a different kind of job as a legal profession. So in 2009, I landed a job in the retail sector and as a human resources executive. And I spent 6 years dealing with people's issues. So I dealt with a lot of mediation. And to be honest, it never felt right to know that a lot of Botswana out there don't know about the labor issues. And especially in terms of representation, and even to afford to be able to get representation has always been difficult for them. But because I was on the other side, of the management, and I just felt like I just needed to be out there because I realized that I am the only person who can be able to be the voice to these marginalized workers. So in 2015, I left my corporate job to start my own consultancy. Without donor funding, believe me, it was very difficult because I started with 2,000 pula. So I had to pull strings, but how do I get to starting an organization, especially a legal profession, where Botswana don't understand what it means? So people will be always asking, are you a lawyer? I said, no, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a legal professional, and I represent marginalized workers on their labor rights. So it means I advocate for them, I educate them, and I also represent them at labor courts. And that is a large market. Around 17.5% of Botswana right now are low-income earners. And I'm speaking about people who earn around 4.32 tebe per hour, which means that at the end of the year, of the month, they earn around 850 pula or 900 pula. So these are people who can't even afford legal fees. So lawyering has become a barrier for human rights issues to be addressed. And that is why I came up with Konopa and Partner Labor Law Consultancy. And currently I'm working on a project where I deal with employment justice. And so we came up with a lab in which we bring the brains. We are looking for doers and thinkers. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in the legal profession to be able to be part of our lab. But we are looking for designers in terms of developers to practitioners who come together and brainstorm ideas where we prototype solutions to help the legal reform.
Not meaning to take you back, earlier on you mentioned that you had to pull strings, because I feel like that's where a lot of us are caught up, where I find myself in a day job. I'm not fulfilled in the job. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't even like my kind of work. Let alone, I don't even like my bosses. But for me to move and say I'm going to pursue something that I like, I feel like I don't have enough. and I don't even know where to turn to. Can you just take us through those strings? Because you mentioned you had only 2,000 pula, but you were starting a consultancy, and then you had to pull strings. I want us to go to that moment, because basically somebody might be watching and saying, you know, I don't like my job. I need to do something. I already know my kind of purpose, but I don't know how to get there.
First, you need to start with the people you know. I had to approach people who already know me, and the kind of, because I believe that if you're a public speaker or if you like dealing with people, then it gets easier for you to be able to approach people. So I used that skill, my skill of public speaking and dealing with people, to get my story to the people who would buy it. And so I started selling clothes. It's kind of funny because I had to really force my friends to buy the clothes that I was selling. I was like, oh, but you know, the things that they love to wear, I had to force them into them, but they loved them and they paid. And soon I realized that, oh, okay, this business is kind of making money, but this is not my purpose. This is not where I want to be, because I said I wanted to be able to represent this market of people who are underrepresented. And how do I do that? So I ended up now going to the catering business, because I was trying this and that. I needed to make money, and especially I have 3 kids. So I'm a mother and a wife, and you know, you always have to put bread onto the table, but how do you do that? So with the catering business, I managed to get a few amount of money, and that's when I now started designing my brand for the organization that I really wanted. Mm-hmm. And right now, we have a website. We have a website that people, Botswana, can be able to kind of instantly chat with us through our app. And then they get legal advice without having to leave far corners of the country to come and consult with me. I consult for free online on their labor issues, and especially that there are a lot of backlog cases at tribunal courts and labor courts. So I am the bridge in where I decrease the number of cases that go to the
criminal courts. Yes. Okay, so now just in case somebody is wondering, okay, Patricia, you are there, you are talking purpose, and I'm following up, but what exactly is purpose? Now I'm just going to throw the question to you. What exactly is purpose to you?
I believe that for me, it's being driven, you know, like a sense of belonging. I felt like you would be in an organization, but you just feel like I have a stronger purpose. I need to belong in a certain corner, but because then you don't want to be in your comfort zone. So I needed to get out of my comfort zone. But how do I do that? Is for me to leave what I'm doing and start something else. And I believe that Botswana, sometimes that kind of risk-taking, it's scary, because you kind of feel like, oh, I need to leap, but how high do I leap and where am I gonna fall? And that's why people are really scared of starting businesses. Though we have a lot of Botswana starting businesses, it's always like, but I need money, and we do need money. And that's why I'm advocating that the people who are advocating for the marginalized, we also need support from the bigger men. We represent the small men. We also need the support from the big men. And how do we do that? We need funding. We need resources in terms of...
I'm just going to cut you right there. We're going to go for a short commercial break. Right after the break, we'll continue on this conversation that we're having. My lady, we're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Tizzle, and I'll be your chef for this show, Let's Cook. Join me as I take you on a culinary journey as you learn new techniques, new methods, and new ways to cook all your favorite foods. You're gonna have a blast with this one. So please, join us on channel 291 Maru TV.
Unplugged Sessions. This show will be happening every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on Maru TV. Make sure that you watch, don't miss. It's a time of music. It's a time where we share ideas of music and enjoy ourselves. Unplugged Sessions with Tshepo Lesole. You're welcome.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Woman to Woman here with me, Patricia Nkwani, and today we are talking purpose. And as usual, I'm not alone on the set. I'm with Rethabile talking purpose. Rethabile, right before the break, we had you defining what purpose was to you, right? Because I understand, as I was saying your stories and what you do up on Facebook, that right after you had to quit your job, which was actually after you realized you were representing the bigger man, and you felt like the little man was being oppressed in a way, and you wanted to pursue something that would represent the little man. And then now the bigger question is, because I see you now in an industry, if I can call it an industry, which is male dominated, if I can call it that, which is male dominated. How were you able now to stand and say, because one of the things that we finding it difficult, it's women now breaking the ceiling into the male dominated industries. How were you able to settle yourself in and to say, I know it's male dominated, but still as a Rethabile, I'm going to make it possible in this industry?
One thing that sets women from really leaping to the things that they want is fear. So I think that fear is something that really gets us to not achieve our goals and to dream big. But also the culture that we are in, our Botswana culture, really forces women to feel like they need to be below the man. And this is where we need to be able to move from, to say, what is the woman's purpose, apart from being a wife, a mother? So a lot of women out there have highly skilled, but yet the system itself forces women to always be below the man, because you can even see through the way the system compensates women. If a woman holds a position of power, will still be getting 3 times less than the man who's in the same position. And that is something that I'm advocating for women, because when I started that Women Deserve to Work initiative in 2016, where I was representing women who were unfairly dismissed, or who kind of like left their jobs and never got back to their jobs because they didn't know what the law says. I help those women understand that there's purpose out there. There is life after, and there's also a way in which they can get that justice. So even through the Employment Justice Lab that the project that we're having right now, we want to tell Botswana stories the way they are, and be able to protect Botswana's identity, because I know that there are a lot of people out there who will be scared. Oh no, I can't tell my story because I know I'm gonna get fired. But if it's us, the middleman, supporting the small man, so that the big man may understand that this is other situations that are happening, and create solutions that are more human-centered. So that is my purpose.
I like the fact that you talked about Botswana identity.
Yeah.
One of the things that stand out when you talk about Botswana, you talk about our culture. And our culture has a way of setting, definitions and limitations on a girl child, or should I say a woman, because there are things a woman can do and things that are not safe for in a woman. But then we find you here now being able to defy the odds, to say in grounds where women would not stand, I'll still stand in. Then the bigger question that I'm feeling like a woman is actually wondering out there to say, how was she able to defy the odds? Because I'm trying to break the ceiling as well. I'm trying to get in there, but I feel like every time I keep trying, the society is saying this, the community is saying this, and you know, the inner voice is also saying, you can't do that.
Yeah. You know, this week I colored my hair blonde because I was sending a message that, especially that, you know, the same-sex marriage has been decriminalized, and I was like, oh wow, Botswana, we are moving forward. And now this is when I colored my hair. I said, I know that a lot of women out there, they're being judged by their looks. They're being judged by, you know, most women with makeup and who have do their nails and put color on their lips, they're defined in a stereotype.
Yeah.
You know, these are the kind of women who can work. These are the kind of women who won't mop the floor. But I colored my hair to say that we deserve to be treated as equals in the workplace. And my hair doesn't have to say who I am. It doesn't say who I am. So you need to be able to give somebody a chance, not just by that image.
You're saying your hair doesn't define who you are.
Yes.
Okay, now coming back to our society. This is the society where you look at something. The first look gives you a picture of what it is. I don't know if you're getting me, because we're the same people that were taught don't judge the book by the cover, but they'll still tell you the cover has the right information that is contained within the book. So now how do I go and say, Patricia, you're going to color your hair, and then somebody will look at my hair and will believe, okay, she's making a statement. How do I now differentiate the statement? Because even the negative statement is a statement. You look at me and you're like, she represents this, it's a statement. You look at me and you're like, she represents the power of a woman, it's a statement. And then how does one now look at the woman making a statement and say, this is a positive statement, and I hear her right, and she's opening doors to other fellow women?
I think there's a lot of oppression when it comes to image, especially Botswana. In our culture. I know a lot of people who are complaining. Just this week I saw some comments on social media and on Twitter about people talking about how they're being judged for coming from universities when they get into the workplace. So there was another comment that said, hey, how's on my chance? So, you know, those are the kind of conversations that I want us to go into, that the fact that you are coming from an education, from a highly educated background is also an image. So that is the stereotype that when you get into an organization, they say millennials are spoiled, millennials are always complaining, millennials are always looking for something new, they will never stay in a job. So that kind of stereotypes is also image, an image that Botswana, we need to move away from, and we need to be given an opportunity to showcase our work before you can judge me.
Okay, so what you're basically saying is there is a link between purpose and image, yes or no?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, my lady, we're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back after the break to continue with this profound conversation we're having right here. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Tizzle, and I'll be your chef for this show, Let's Cook. Join me as I take you on a culinary journey as you learn new techniques, new methods, and new ways to cook all your favorite foods. You're gonna have a blast with this one. So please, join us on channel 291 Maru TV.
Unplugged Sessions. This show will be happening every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on Maru TV. Make sure that you watch, don't miss. It's a time of music. It's a time where we share ideas of music and enjoy ourselves. Unplugged sessions with Tshepo Lesole. You're welcome.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's your favorite TV talk show with me here, Patricia Nkwani. And today on Woman to Woman, we are talking purpose. And as usual, I'm not alone. I'm joined here by the beautiful Retabile to discuss this amazing topic. Well, Retabile, before we went to the break, you mentioned our identity as Botswana, which is something that stood out for me. Because one of the things that we are defined as Botswana is our loyalty. We are very, very loyal people. So much that you stick into something that isn't working because you feel like you owe your loyalty to somebody. How are you able as Retabile to say, I'm going to stand up and advocate for these people, whereas somebody feels like I'm loyal to this person here?
Well, one thing I realized about Botswana is that there's just so much fear around us. Like, fear in terms of having given up on the system itself. So there will be comments, especially on social media, if you really follow on social media and anywhere else, you'll be, yeah, Hotla Siama has always been that thing. When I grew up, my grandmother used to say, yeah, Hotla Siama banaka, Hotla Siama. But you know, the Hotla Siama thing now has really perpetuated the situation where people have become really poor. Because there are no solutions. There are no solutions in terms of saying, because that's where we have to move towards.
To solutions.
To solutions. Not just giving up and saying, no, but you're hoping that somebody else will solve that problem. But how do you solve a problem if... So that's our identity. We have very dull political platforms where we cannot...
advocate,
where we cannot speak freely about our problems without having to be scared that and so that's why the millennials right now, we have been rejected by the system. That's why you see a whole lot, 100,000 of graduates are sitting at home not working. Those are the same millennials who are deemed radicals and thing, now they're going against it.
Yeah, Like you had mentioned, when you decided to pursue your purpose, you weren't into advocating for the marginalized in labor law, in labor courts, right? But if I get it right, lawyers are not allowed or permitted to represent anybody in labor courts. Lawyers are not allowed in labor courts, if I'm right about it. So how then are you able to go into it and say, I'm going to represent a person? And then the other question is, how are you able to make money out of this?
Yes, we have a lot of, because we are running a social enterprise, so basically it's more hybrid, where there's a profit and a non-profit side of it. So in terms of our non-profit side of it, a lot of Botswana have been represented for free in the organization. A lot of them, especially that we are providing. We are moving away from, before we can see you open up a file, because we don't think that helps Botswana, especially that they don't really have enough money to pay for those fees. But there are a lot of options in terms of subscriptions where Botswana can subscribe towards our services. But in terms of the lawyering, I'm a non-lawyer, so basically we are legal professionals who can represent in labor courts. In labor courts, you are expected to not be a lawyer to represent the marginal.
Oh, so you can be represented by somebody, but the person doesn't have to be a lawyer.
At that, so that is a huge market, because then I'm now asking Botswana to be able to come
to tap into the market.
To come into this market, because this is the market where I could be able to help train them and employ them as consultants, because we are also coming up with an app where we match consultants across the country with clients in terms of the fees that they can afford.
But then, just in case somebody is there wondering, I have my kind of plan of a purpose.
Yeah.
I have it all set up in my mind. How do I go about to know if this kind of thing is going to pay me? Because like you said, you are a married woman with 3 kids. Before you venture into anything, the bigger question is this thing going to pay me? So how were you able to actually find out to say this is something that will have the ability to pay me as an individual?
Well, I believe because it's social entrepreneurship, there's always risk. You know, you're an entrepreneur, you're always saying like, you will definitely not get your money immediately, because you will obviously put a lot of money into branding, into coming up with your applications, your web and mobile applications, but also be able to sustain yourself in terms of getting a salary monthly. That you cannot expect if you're an entrepreneur. So I just need to advise Botswana that if you go into entrepreneurship, know that you will not get your money instantly. You need to convince the clients that your product can be used and can work, and you are the only person who can be able to provide that service. And right now I'm saying I'm the only person who can be able to provide that service without having to charge exorbitant fees like lawyers.
Awesome, awesome. Now, as we are about to wrap up our show, I just want you to look at the camera and talk to a woman that is out there finding herself maybe in a job she doesn't like, or where she feels oppressed, or maybe just given up at home doing nothing, to say there is this thing called purpose, and when you pursue purpose, you never go wrong with it.
I'm speaking to Botswana out there, especially Botswana women, that most of you who know me know that I've started small, and right now I am urging Botswana to be able to get consultation, especially when they want to start something, that they should get feedback. Feedback is very important, and I'm urging Botswana to also be able to get in touch with us so that we can hear their stories, and we are good at telling employment stories the way they are. We want the people out there in the villages, in far corners of the country, to know that there is a solution. There's a solution to these legal systems that are not providing justice.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, one more time, I just want you, just in a sentence, your word of advice to a girl child out there that is still trying to figure themselves out, that doesn't have purpose defined for them. Just in one sentence, your word of advice unto them.
There's this thing that I tell my daughter all the time to say, my small 3-year-old, that she needs to say to herself that she's beautiful, she's smart, and she's important. And I want you, Botswana, young Botswana, and the youth and our mothers out there, to know that for you to have a purpose is to know that you are smart and important and beautiful in your own image. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Retabile, for gracing our show. We are really humbled by your presence. Well, my women up at home, this is my advice unto you. There is no way you can go wrong in pursuit for purpose. When you find that thing that you love the most, that thing that gets you going every other day, that's where your unstoppable power lies. Find your purpose, pursue your purpose, and remember, when you pursue purpose, you remain unstoppable. I just want to take a moment to thank Kinross for sponsoring us with this beautiful, beautiful place that you see us in every other episode. To also thank Prestige Flair for dressing me up so beautifully. Do get yourself a Prestige Flair dress. And once again, thank you for watching Woman to Woman, and see you on the next episode of Woman to Woman. Bye and love you.